Hi, this is GMac for the Razor Company and welcome to another shave. Today's focus will be on Catie's Bubbles Menage A Lavande. Stick with me. Let's talk a little bit about Catie's Bubbles. It was started by Chris Cullen in 2014. 2012 was when he did, of course, lose his full-time job. And then he moved into, following or pursuing his hobby, which was soap making. Registered his company in 2014, named it after his daughter, Catie, Catie's Bubbles. I've been through that history before, but his soap making kind of uses the French style of soap making, not the Italian style, so closer to what MDC would be. They're totally vegan soaps, absolutely no tallow in them. And for the longest period of time, people have spoken about how they love Catie's Bubbles, and it's got a cult following in a way. Chris Cullen's an amazing artisan who is very generous with sharing information with other newbie artisans, as well as with anybody who wants to know anything about his soaps. Menage A Lavande, I hope I got that pronunciation right, but it is, it's a lavender bomb. That's really what it is. And if you go to Fragrantica, which I normally go to just to look at ratings, it's got a 4.5 on 5 rating as a perfume or as an EDT. But the soap, let's get to that right now. So the ingredients in the soap, of course, are stearic acid, kokum butter, mango seed butter, palm oil, jojoba seed oil, glycerin, fragrance, and that's pretty much the main ingredients. That's what it looks like. It's a 6-ounce tub, and the reason for that is it's 4 ounces is what the content is inside. But the reason for that is so that if you look at it, it's actually made on purpose in case you want to brush load. And I'm going to get to talking about that later, about Catie's Bubbles, bowl lathering or brush loading. But it's a fairly soft soap. It's a crope, as you can see inside. Looks really clean and pure, a little off-white in color. There's no fragrance profile as such to describe it. It's just a multiple tiered complex lavender fragrance. It's set to use 5 different types of lavender from all over the world, and especially from, if I'm not mistaken, Europe and North America. But there's one thing that is missing in it, and I'm glad for that: spike lavender. I don't know if you've ever used spike lavender, but a while back when I used to burn a lot of essential oil, I had used spike lavender, and I did not like it. It's got a medicinal kind of touch to it. This doesn't have that. So the closest that I could compare this to is probably Barrister & Man lavender and the Reserve base. That's one of my favorites. But while that tends to be a little subdued, this one is a little sweeter. It's a little sweeter, it's a lot brighter, and you can tell those layers going on in there. It's like there's a herbaceous kind of scent to it, and then that breaks down into a grassy kind of lavender scent. And then there's a powdery kind of lavender scent, which all of us are, acquainted with. And it's just an amazing soap to smell. I can never get enough of it. It's very calming, and whatever the oils that Chris Cullen has used in this are top notch. It's really, really quality. So if you're a fan of lavender, I would say, get yourself Menage A Lavande. Once again, I hope I got that pronunciation right. Let's run you through the rest of the gear for today. So for the razor, I'm going to be going with the Yaqi Vostok 105 Duo SSP, which is made in marine grade stainless steel. Now let me break it down for you. This handle, of course, is just a titanium handle that I had lying around. And I wanted it to be a little lighter, so only the head is Yaqi. It weighs about 31 grams. It's got a straight bar or a closed comb on one side, and of course it's got the open comb on the other side. As you can see here, there's a nice little design that cuts into the base plate and the top cap. Absolutely no blade overhang. A shiny metal. I do love the way this looks. And well, it's just stunning to look at from behind. So 1.05 is the blade gap. The exposure is 0.05. That's the blade exposure. Looking forward to shaving with this. I wanted to get this for the longest period of time, and really glad that I did. I did mention it's a very sunny day in these parts, and with the sun, of course, in my region, you get humidity. It's really humid. So let's get down to the other part of the shave, the brush. The brush for today is one of my favorites. It's a Timberwolf Knot, 28 millimeters, 55 millimeter loft. The handle is 62 millimeters. This is the Yaqi Rocks. If you notice it, well, it's got like rock formations inside there, but when you turn it around, you can see that there are like gold veins running through. Absolutely beautiful brush to look at, and I totally love it. It's got the Yaqi coin behind as well. One of my favorite brushes. 28 millimeters. It's got, well, I would say maybe about 40% backbone. It's a little springy, 45% and 55% splay. Absolutely beautiful brush. So I'm going to soak the brush, and for the blade today, totally forgot to mention that, Voshkod, my second best blade. Wisdomet Super Iridium is my go-to blade on days when I don't want something that's a little too sharp and smooth, and I just want something that's smooth, which is more forgiving. Voshkod. I totally love these blades. I have loads of tucks lying around. For the bowl, I'm going to be going with the Hendrix Classics & Company stainless steel lather bowl, and my aftershave for today, I thought I'd go with something a little old school, Proraso green. I used to have Akbrito Lavanda, which I wanted to use, but gave it away to a good buddy of mine who's got the soap as well, and I just thought it made more sense for him to have the set. So go to bowl lather, and then we'll get down to, well, the shave itself. Now, a lot of shavers, a lot of wet shavers do love Catie's bubbles, and a lot of wet shavers don't like Catie's bubbles. Now, the ones that don't like Catie's bubbles will always tell you that for some reason their soap doesn't lather too well. There's a catch to it. So Catie's bubbles is a soap that if you brush load, it'll give you an amazing result. 30 seconds of brush rotations inside your bowl, and then you start working with a little water, get it onto your face. Great. Or you can do that in a bowl as well. Now, for me, I do not like brush loading, so what I do is I tend to, well, scoop out a little bit of the soap into the bowl, let it bloom for about 5 minutes in warm water. Make sure that you smear the soap, at the bottom of the bowl. And the reason for that is you want to make sure that the soap gets hydrated well. Then using a brush, you've got to work a little at it. Catie's Bubbles requires a bit of work. It's not a soap that kind of will give you amazing results the first time around. You've got to dial it in. After about maybe a minute of brush rotations in your bowl, let it just hydrate for a little bit. That's the lather forming. And once it hydrates, well, that's when you go back to working with the soap and give it a few more swirls before you can actually, well, get a good result. So it's an amazing soap to work with. I absolutely love it. And great cushion, great protection, always slick enough for me. The reason why some shavers will find that it's not very slick is because the soap doesn't entirely break down in the bowl. So make sure that when you scoop and use it, you've got the soap dialed in properly so that, well, the lather forms and there's no bits and pieces lying around in there, because that would mean that the soap is not going to give you its full potential. So that's what the lather looks like. Let's get straight down to the shave itself. So give it a shot and let me know what do you think about Catie's Bubbles. I think I'm just going to get my earrings off before I get soap onto them. So let me know what is your opinion of Catie's Bubbles? How do you find the soap? How does it work for you? It's always worked very well for me. I've always enjoyed Chris Cullen's fragrances. Purple Grapefruit is another one of my favorites. My top favorite, of course, right now would be, well, this one. My second would be La Marche du Rassage, if I got that right. Excuse my poor French. And if you wanted to know why I mentioned that Katie's Bubbles is more like the French soap making, more like MDC. Well, the names itself would tell you that. La Piment de la Vie, or names like that would give you an indication of it. You remember that complex lavender notes that I was talking about? They start to shine as you're face lathering. You can actually get those layers coming through. There's a sweetness, that herbaceous note, that slightly grassy note, that floral note. It's all in there. I don't know what other strains used, but if there was spike lavender used in it, I'd be surprised, because that's got a bit of a menthol kind of a finish, or a dried out. I don't find that here, so I did try to look it up to find out what are the strains of or the types of lavender used. Probably Chris Cullen's secret. Got a beautiful lather going there. Absolutely lovely lather. Just want to show you there's still a good bit left. Remember, 28 millimeters, you're always going to get a lot onto the brush. I've said this before, my favorite knots would be normally 24 or 26 millimeters. Let's start off with the open comb side, and then let's go to the close comb. Absolutely smooth, beautiful, absolutely beautiful. This open comb is so comfortable on the skin. It's not kind of intimidating in any way, although it looks like that. It's kind of smooth, even though it seems a bit sharp, but the angle is fairly steep. Beautiful razor, beautiful. And that soap now, well, as I've said this before, I've never ever had an issue with Katie's Bubbles. They're one of my favorite soaps. I'm not a tallow snob, if that's what you call it. I have a friend of mine who only loves using tallow soaps. The more the tallow, the merrier for him. But and he'll always state, I'm a tallow snob. I don't use vegan soaps. Today, vegan soaps, and I think it was soap makers like Chris Cullen, Katie's Bubbles, Southern Witchcrafts, Phoenix Artisan Accoutrements, Hendrix Classics and Company. These soaps, none of them have tallow, but yet they perform like champions. And you think, you must be missing something. What about Saponificio Veracino? It's always been a mystery to me how that soap works, sometimes even better than a tallow soap. And Katie's Bubbles Menage A Lavande is pretty much like that. Beautiful sheen to that lather. Very nice residual slickness. Really, really nice. The three most popular scents in a shaving soap, or fragrances that are most often used or have some sort of a foundation to another fragrance or a fragrance list: lavender, sandalwood, citrus. You're going to find them in practically everything. And I have never ever had an issue with an excess of lavender oil being there in my soap, an excess of sandalwood being there, unless it is a synthetic sandalwood. And I did use this soap 2 days back, which left me with a bit of skin irritation. Strangely, probably the fragrance burned more than anything else, and that's the time when I turn to soaps that have pure lavender, pure sandalwood. No problems with them at all. It's a bit strange sometimes when you have to shave with only one side. You got to rinse so many times. But this is exactly how I do it when I'm using a dual comb. So we're done with the open comb side. It practically took off most of the stubble. It's a little bit on this area. Time for a cleanup with the other side. Just going to do a small wipe. I don't like taking off all the soap for the simple reason that it kind of takes off the slickness, and you know, some will rinse. I just keep it on and go on with the second lather application. Absolutely wonderful lather. So if you're a lavender fan, I'm going to say pick this up. Does it compare to Barrister and Man Lavender? It's a very different soap. It's different in the way that it functions. It's different in the way that it feels on the face. It's a little lighter. The B&M tends to be a little heavier because of the many butters and the tallow in there. At the same time, I do love that very much for its performance. This fragrance is just probably the best lavender smelling soap that I've used. And I'd say that over and over again. Still going to try one more out, and that is you know, the PAA Lavender Planet. That'll be when it gets here, but for now, this is my #1 smelling lavender shaving soap. And just look at that, the sheen on that lather is just gorgeous. And there's something about when you use high quality lavender inside a soap. It's very calming on the skin. It's very calming. If you're stressed, yeah, use a lavender shaving soap and a lavender aftershave and it should work well for you. Let's go with the close comb. And against the grain. It just cleans up everything. Just cleans up everything. And this soap is so good with the way it helps the razor glide. Oh, it's an absolutely wonderful combination. That soap, the razor, the blade. Really love it. If you haven't tried out Catie's Bubbles soap, go to the Razor Company website, and they even have samples. The samples are like about 2 ounces. They really don't cost much. Very, very affordable. Top performing soaps. Great bang for your buck. They last for a long time, and you get a chance to try out, you know, different fragrances before you can actually settle on the one that you like. But let's say you go and pick up a full tub, even that's really inexpensive, and as I said, top tier performance. So what do you have to lose? I just love the slickness on this soap, and I do remember a friend of mine saying that he found that his skin was it felt a bit dry after using, you know, Catie's Bubbles, and I think that's probably because you don't dial the soap in properly, you don't break down the soap entirely in your bowl. till it's fully dissolved and turned into a lather. It's hydrated well with the water. So if you haven't been lucky with Catie's Bubble soaps, or you find that they haven't performed well for you, give it a bit of time. Get used to it. The way that it needs to be hydrated, the way that you can get a good lather out of it, and a little bit of work will really get you there. Once you do that, it's always autopilot. And I'm only saying this for people who have used Catie's Bubbles and feel that it doesn't give you enough cushion, protection, glide, or slickness. Just dial the soap in properly and that should do the job. I think I nicked myself. And it's a weeper, not a nick. That's what happens with when you talk too much using a 1.05 blade gap. Normally never ever get a weeper with a Voshkod, but my skin was irritated, as I said, from 2 days back, due to getting fragrance burn, and when your skin is a bit inflamed sometimes, and that's when I reach for these more comfortable soaps. But I am going to say this, if you are using the Vostok 1.05, start off with the 0.70 or the 0.90 if I'm not mistaken, then progress to this. It's a very efficient razor, but it can be fairly aggressive if you kind of go autopilot on it. And it's so smooth you won't feel it while you get nicked or you get a weeper. And my fault is that for the last few shaves I've been using titanium razors. It's an entirely different feel, and the moment you go back to a stainless steel, and you know that you don't have to use any pressure, but yet you tend to use a little bit, and that's when you start getting weepers. Absolutely wonderful razor. I swear by it, and it was my first shave with it. Did lose focus a little bit while talking. No regrets about that. I had a wonderful shave. That slickness is really crazy. It's there. Whoever said Catie's Bubbles does not have slickness, oh man. Well, give Menage A Lavande a shot. Give it a shot. It is purely a lavender bomb, and if you're a lavender fan like me, you're going to absolutely love it. I mean, I'm saying this, it's not easy. I like lavender so much that I have so many lavender products, aftershaves, shaving soaps, bath soaps, even deodorants. And to say that this is my favorite lavender fragrance holds some weight. It's really a great fragrance. So just going to recap all the gear for you before I can get down to the aftershave. Hendrix Classics and Company Lather Bowl, the Yaqi Vostok 105 Duo SSP 316 stainless steel head with the open comb and closed comb. The brush for today was the Yaqi Rocks, absolutely beautiful brush to look at, and the blade for today was the Voshkod. Let me get that right, Voshkod. And the main star of the show, of course, Menage A Lavande, Catie's Bubbles. Get yourself this soap. If you're a lavender fan, I'm saying this again, go to the TRC website and get yourself this soap. If the matching aftershave is there, it wasn't available when I got the soap. I'm going to be going with the Proraso Green, tried, tested, and loved the world over by all shavers. And let me know in the comments what you think about Catie's Bubbles, Menage A Lavande, the other Catie's Bubbles soaps. Do you have a Yaqi Vostok or the Yaqi Rocks brush? Well, let me know what you think of the gear used, or more importantly, about the soap, because that was the star of the show. That's it from me, GMac, for today. Time for me to shut shop and ship out of here, and on behalf of the razor company to say I'll be back with another shave real soon, but for now, it's bye-bye from me and happy shaves, my friend, as always.